Monique. Monique's career disruption began at the exact moment it should have accelerated. Her performance as Mary Lee Johnston in Precious was one of the most critically acclaimed supporting roles of the 21st century, earning her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress.
Monique, in Precious, based on the novel Push by Sapphire.
Before that point, she was already a proven star, known for The Parkers, her work in The Queens of Comedy, and her reputation as one of the most reliably bankable comedic performers of the early 2000s. The public story was that she became difficult, but the underlying mechanism was a labor conflict that collided with Hollywood's unwritten rules about obedience and racial valuation. A key detail is that she was paid only $50,000 for Precious, far below standard compensation for an awards-caliber supporting role in a major studio film. After the film began attracting awards attention, Lionsgate and the producers, including Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels, allegedly asked her to travel internationally to promote it. That work was not in her contract. Monique stated she would promote the film if she was compensated for the additional labor. This refusal became the seed of the difficult label. According to her, Tyler Perry told her to play the game, predicting she could earn $6 to $8 million on her next film if she complied.
There was a request from the movie studio that I fly to France for the Cannes Film Festival.
When she insisted on being paid for the additional duties, communication deteriorated. A less widely known factor involves her private conflict with Oprah Winfrey. Monique has stated she confided in Oprah about childhood abuse, only to find that her estranged family members had later been invited onto Oprah's show without her consent.
For 8 years, my family has suffered and my career has suffered.
That private betrayal deepened the fracture in their professional relationship. Former makeup artist Reggie Wells publicly claimed Oprah acknowledged Monique's point but refused to advocate for her. The resulting whisper campaign, amplified by 3 of the most powerful figures in Black Hollywood, sidelined her career for more than a decade. Cuba Gooding Jr. Cuba Gooding Jr.'s blackballing emerged not from a single career-ending scandal, but from a long sequence of allegations that accumulated over 2 decades. After winning the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for Jerry Maguire in 1997, he became one of Hollywood's most in-demand performers. His energetic "Show Me the Money" performance became a cultural landmark.
Here it is. Show me the money.
And throughout the early 2000s, he remained a recognizable leading man. What ultimately derailed his career was a compounding pattern of accusations that made him uninsurable and too risky for studios to hire. The first formal break occurred in June of 2019, when he was arrested and charged with misdemeanor, forcible touching after a woman reported he groped her at a bar in Times Square. Over time, more than 30 women came forward with allegations of unwanted touching or groping in nightclubs, hotels, or private settings. These incidents rarely made major headlines when they occurred, but the cumulative effect created an escalating legal burden. In August of 2020, a woman identified as Jane Doe filed a civil lawsuit accusing him of raping her in 2013. Although the case was set for trial, Gooding Jr. settled out of court in June of 2023, just before jury selection began. A pivotal turning point came in April of 2022, when he pleaded guilty to 1 count of forcibly touching. He admitted in court that he kissed a waitress on the lips without her consent.
Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. pled guilty to 1 misdemeanor count of forcible touching on Wednesday as part of a plea deal sparing him any immediate jail time.
Even though the plea allowed him to avoid jail time, that formal admission made it nearly impossible for insurers, networks, and film studios to financially justify casting him. The entertainment industry is especially sensitive to liability issues, and a guilty plea, even to a misdemeanor, places an actor on the list of uninsurable performers. A lesser-known element of his decline is his recent association with other legal scandals. In March of 2024, he was named as a co-defendant in music producer Rodney Jones's sexual assault lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs. Though the claims against him in that lawsuit differ from those made in earlier cases, the connection reinforced the perception that his legal troubles were persistent and widening rather than isolated. Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby's fall represents one of the most complete erasures of legacy in modern entertainment history. For decades, he was considered a trailblazer who helped mainstream Black representation on American television. In the 1960s, he became the first Black actor to star in a network drama, I Spy, and he won 3 consecutive Emmy Awards for his work. In the 1980s, The Cosby Show became one of the most watched series in the country, portraying an upper-middle-class Black family at a time when such depictions were rare. His influence extended into stand-up comedy, children's programming, and academic philanthropy. The collapse of his career began in October of 2014, when a video surfaced of comedian Hannibal Buress accusing Cosby of rape during a stand-up routine.
Bill Cosby has the smuggest old Black man public persona that I hate. This kid's on TV. Pull your pants up, Black people. I was on TV in the 80s. can talk down to you because I had a successful sitcom. Yeah, it was great women, Bill Cosby, so kind of brings you down a couple notches. I don't curse on stage, but yeah, you're a rapist, so...
The clip went viral, prompting dozens of women to come forward with allegations spanning from 1965 to 2008. Ultimately, more than 60 women accused him of rape, drug-facilitated sexual assault, or sexual misconduct. Many described a consistent pattern: being invited to a private meeting, being offered a drink, and waking up with memory gaps and physical injuries. Though rumors had existed for decades, the sheer volume and similarity of the allegations produced an irreversible public verdict. In 2018, Cosby was convicted of aggravated indecent assault against Andrea Constand and sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison. The conviction was hailed as a milestone of the Me Too era. However, in 2021, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned the conviction, ruling that a previous district attorney had made a non-prosecution promise in 2005 to encourage Cosby's testimony in Constand's civil case. That testimony was later used against him in the criminal trial, violating due process protections. The reversal did not question whether the misconduct occurred, only whether the prosecution followed correct procedure. Cosby's release created a sharp divide within Black Hollywood. Figures such as Felicia Rashad publicly celebrated the ruling, while others, including Amber Tamblyn and E. Jean Carroll, expressed anger, arguing that legal technicalities did not negate years of consistent allegations. Since his release, no major studio, distributor, or network has attempted to revive his career. The industry has rendered a permanent judgment separate from the courts. Stacey Dash. Stacey Dash's career trajectory reflects a modern form of ideological exile, not a formal blacklist, but a self-inflicted alienation from both Hollywood and the political sphere she attempted to join. Her public image was originally defined by her breakout role as Dionne Davenport in Clueless in 1995 and the subsequent television adaptation. For much of the late 1990s and early 2000s, she worked steadily in films and guest roles, maintaining a reputation as a charismatic performer with strong comedic timing. What ultimately derailed her career was not personal scandal or criminal behavior, but her transformation into a political commentator whose rhetoric increasingly isolated her from the industry and audience that once supported her. In 2012, Dash publicly endorsed Mitt Romney for president.
Vote for Romney, the only choice for your future, at Mitt Romney, at Team Romney, hashtag Mitt Romney, hashtag vote Romney, and then she tweeted this photo of herself.
A move that initially produced intense online backlash, but did not immediately impact her acting prospects. The major shift occurred in 2014, when Fox News hired her as a paid political commentator. During this period, she made a series of controversial, polarizing statements that positioned her in direct opposition to institutions and cultural spaces that supported Black performers. In January 2016, she argued that Black History Month should be eliminated, and that channels like BET should not exist. Later that year, she publicly criticized actor Jesse Williams after his BET Awards speech, calling him a Hollywood plantation slave and claiming his remarks attacked white people. These public statements damaged her standing within Black Hollywood and the broader entertainment community. One lesser-known detail is that Dash later revealed Fox News hired her specifically to embody the persona of the angry conservative Black woman, a media archetype crafted for conflict-driven commentary. When Fox declined to renew her contract in 2017, she was left without the acting career she had distanced herself from and without the political platform that once sustained her. In 2021, she publicly apologized for her past remarks, stating that she had been operating from a place of anger rather than conviction. However, by that point, she was functionally blackballed, too politically charged for mainstream Hollywood, and no longer a fit for conservative media. Isaiah Washington. Isaiah Washington's career disruption is one of the clearest examples of how a single public error, combined with pre-existing tension, can result in an immediate and irreversible industry exile. Washington was an accomplished actor long before Grey's Anatomy, appearing in films such as Love Jones, Get on the Bus, and Clockers, where he established himself as a nuanced performer capable of intense, grounded, dramatic work. His role as Dr. Preston Burke on Grey's Anatomy, beginning in 2005, was his highest-profile success, positioning him as one of television's leading dramatic actors. The event that triggered his blackball unfolded in 2 stages. The first occurred in October of 2006 during an on-set confrontation with co-star Patrick Dempsey. During the argument, Washington used a homophobic slur, reportedly directed at Dempsey while referring to T.R. Knight, his gay castmate. ABC handled the incident internally and considered the matter resolved, but the tension remained. The decisive blow came in January of 2007, when Grey's Anatomy won Best Drama Series at the Golden Globes.
And the Golden Globe goes to
Grey's Anatomy.
During the backstage press conference, a reporter asked Washington about the prior incident. He attempted to deny it, but repeated the slur publicly into a live microphone.
No, I did not call TR a faggot. It never happened. Never happened.
That moment instantly shifted the situation from an internal dispute to an external public relations crisis for the network. Shonda Rhimes and several cast members later stated the press room denial was the true breaking point, not the initial altercation. Repeating the slur publicly triggered immediate backlash from advertisers, LGBTQ organizations, and media outlets, making Washington uninsurable for a series lead. In June of 2007, ABC declined to renew his contract, effectively ending his run on the show. Washington later apologized and sought counseling, but the industry had already moved on. Over the following years, he appeared in smaller cable and indie projects, but never regained his former standing. In 2023, he announced he was retiring from acting due to the ongoing impact of the scandal. Spike Lee. Spike Lee's situation is distinct from the other cases because he was not blackballed from working in Hollywood but systematically excluded from its highest honors. His case illustrates a form of institutional gatekeeping where a creator is allowed to produce acclaimed work, yet consistently denied recognition at the industry's most prestigious level. Lee emerged in the 1980s as one of America's most influential filmmakers, with titles like Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X, and School Days establishing him as a central voice in cinematic depictions of race, identity, and systemic inequality. His films were financially successful and critically respected, but the Academy routinely withheld Best Picture nominations from him. A defining example came in 1989 when Do the Right Thing, now widely regarded as one of the greatest films ever made, failed to receive a Best Picture nomination. That year's winner was Driving Miss Daisy, a film centered on a feel-good interracial friendship narrative that critics argued was far more palatable to Academy voters than Lee's uncompromising portrayal of racism and police violence. Nearly 30 years later, a strikingly similar scenario occurred. In 2019, Lee's film Black Klansman was nominated for Best Picture, yet lost to Green Book, another film depicting a black man chauffeuring or being chauffeured by a white man. Lee reacted visibly in the theater and later stated backstage, "Every time somebody's driving somebody, I lose," highlighting the repetitive nature of the pattern. Most people don't know that even though the Academy denied him major competitive awards for decades, it presented him with an honorary Oscar in 2015.
Is Brooklyn in the house? Brooklyn's in the house. Thank you very much.
This gesture acknowledged his cultural significance while sidestepping recognition of individual films that challenged Hollywood's racial comfort zones. Throughout his career, Lee has remained outspoken, criticizing the industry for elevating stories that center white emotional safety over black agency and anger. His films continue to thrive critically and financially, but his relationship with the Academy operates like a gilded cage, allowing success while withholding the top-level validation routinely granted to less challenging work. Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett's blackballing is one of the most extreme examples of reputational collapse in modern Hollywood because the industry's reaction remained unchanged even after his conviction was overturned. Before the scandal, Smollett played Jamal Lyon on Empire, becoming one of the show's most popular characters and a significant figure for LGBTQ+ representation on network television. His role included multiple major musical numbers, a storyline about coming out, and a narrative arc focused on reconciling identity and family expectations. At the height of the series' success, he was positioned as both a breakout star and a future leading man. On January 29, 2019, he reported to Chicago police that he had been attacked by two men who shouted racist and homophobic slurs, placed a noose around his neck, and proclaimed, "This is MAGA country."
I heard, as I was crossing the intersection, I heard Empire, and I didn't answer. I kept walking, and then I heard Empire. So I turned around and I said, "The did you just say to me?" And I see the attacker. He said, "This MAGA country," punches me right in the face.
The accusation triggered national outrage and extensive media coverage. However, as investigators reviewed security footage, payment records, and phone data, they concluded that Smollett had staged the attack and paid two brothers, Abimbola and Olabinjo Osundairo, $3,500 to participate. This discovery shifted him from a sympathetic figure to a symbol of fabrication that many argued undermined the credibility of real hate crime victims. The legal process was unusually complex. In March of 2019, Cook County prosecutors unexpectedly dropped the original charges after Smollett completed community service and forfeited $10,000 in bond. Public backlash led to the appointment of a special prosecutor, who reinvestigated the case and secured new felony charges. In December 2021, Smollett was convicted on 5 felony counts of disorderly conduct. In March 2022, he was sentenced to 150 days in jail. Then in November 2024, the Illinois Supreme Court overturned the conviction, ruling that the second prosecution violated his Fifth Amendment protection against double jeopardy. The court emphasized that this reversal did not dispute the evidence indicating he had staged the attack. Empire's producers initially removed him from only the final 2 episodes of Season 5 to prevent disruption on set, leaving open the possibility of his return. But after the full scope of the scandal emerged, his character was permanently written out. Even after the legal reversal, no studio or network has attempted to hire him. In Hollywood's view, the reputational damage, not the conviction, was the point of no return. Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson's blacklisting represents the earliest and most devastating example of state-driven career destruction for a black performer in American entertainment. Before the blacklist, Robeson was one of the most celebrated artists in the world, known for his resonant baritone voice.
Ask Miss Julie what she thinks. Better ask the old River what he thinks.
Acclaimed stage performances and commanding screen presence. He was a world-renowned actor, singer, civil rights advocate, and intellectual. In the 1930s and 1940s, he starred in Showboat and delivered a historic performance as Othello on Broadway, becoming the first African-American to play the role in a major American production. His fame extended internationally, and he frequently performed overseas, where audiences embraced both his artistry and his outspoken politics. Robeson's fall began with the political environment of the Cold War. In 1949, he attended the Paris Peace Conference, where an Associated Press dispatch falsely reported that he said Black Americans would refuse to fight against the Soviet Union. Though later proven to be a misquote, the damage was immediate. The statement triggered public outrage, newspaper condemnation, and intense federal scrutiny. His political activism, particularly his support for anti-colonial movements and criticism of racism in the United States, made him an explicit target of the House Un-American Activities Committee. In 1950, the U.S. State Department revoked Robeson's passport, effectively imprisoning him within the country and destroying his international career. This ban lasted 8 years. During that time, 85 of his American concerts were canceled due to political pressure and intimidation. In 1956, Robeson appeared before HUAC and delivered one of the most defiant testimonies in American history, refusing to renounce his beliefs or deny his constitutional rights. He famously stated, "I am being tried for fighting for the rights of my people," directly challenging the committee. Robeson's erasure was so complete that many American textbooks omitted him entirely for decades, despite his global renown. International audiences continued to celebrate him long after the U.S. attempted to silence him. Today, historians view him as a foundational civil rights figure whose artistry and activism reshaped global conversations about race, empire, and human rights. Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard's blackballing is rooted in a contract dispute that collided with a rapidly shifting studio power structure during the early years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Before the conflict, Howard was an Oscar-nominated actor for Hustle and Flow and one of Hollywood's most respected dramatic performers. When he was cast as James Rhodey Rhodes in Iron Man in 2008, he was actually the highest-paid actor in the film. This was because Robert Downey Jr., at the time, was still considered a financial risk due to his well-documented legal troubles. Howard's contract included a 3-picture deal that guaranteed him a substantial raise for the sequel. After Iron Man became a massive success, Marvel Studios reorganized its salary structure. Robert Downey Jr. had suddenly become the studio's most valuable asset, and according to Howard, the studio told him the sequel would be successful with or without him. He claimed they offered him only $1 million, an 87% reduction from his contracted salary of $8 million. Howard has publicly stated that the cut occurred so the studio could redirect the money to Downey Jr.'s increased pay. When Howard refused the pay reduction, Marvel recast his role with Don Cheadle. Interestingly, the studio originally approached Don Cheadle for the role in the first film, but Howard's agent secured the part for him. This meant the studio already viewed Rhodes as a replaceable supporting role and may have used the salary dispute as an opportunity to install the actor they preferred at a lower cost. The public explanation emphasized a breakdown in negotiations, but behind the scenes, the racialized dynamics of Hollywood's difficult label played a significant role. White actors who negotiate aggressively are often framed as assertive, while black actors are more likely to be framed as problematic or high risk, a perception amplified by the lack of black executives who could advocate on Howard's behalf. Howard later stated he held no personal animosity toward Cheadle and believed studios often pit black actors against each other. After losing the Marvel role, he shifted primarily to television, where he found success with Empire, but the loss of a long-term Marvel contract permanently altered the course of his mainstream film career. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes' blackballing resulted from a convergence of legal trouble, on-set conflict, and an industry narrative that framed him as difficult, making his case a textbook example of how multiple pressures can merge into a career-ending storm. During the 1990s, Snipes was one of Hollywood's most versatile and bankable black stars, leading films across drama, action, comedy, and thriller genres. He starred in New Jack City, White Men Can't Jump, Jungle Fever, and the Blade trilogy. As the lead actor and an executive producer on Blade, he helped launch one of the earliest successful modern superhero franchises, predating the Marvel Cinematic Universe by almost a decade. The decline began with a tax-related criminal case. In 2008, Snipes was convicted on 3 misdemeanor counts of willful failure to file federal income tax returns.
He was convicted on 3 misdemeanor counts of failing to file a tax return. He could still be sentenced to 3 years in prison after originally facing a possible 16.
Importantly, he was acquitted of the more serious felony charges of tax fraud and conspiracy, but the misdemeanor convictions alone carried a 3-year prison sentence, and he served 28 months from December 2010 to April 2013. While prison time alone does not always end an actor's career, the parallel emergence of damaging on-set allegations amplified the severity of the situation. During the production of Blade Trinity in 2004, co-star Patton Oswalt and others described Snipes as increasingly isolated and confrontational, claiming he communicated through post-it notes signed "From Blade" and allegedly tried to strangle director David Goyer. Snipes has strongly denied these allegations, stating that if he had actually assaulted Goyer, he would have been jailed immediately. He also explained that his behavior stemmed from his contractual authority as an executive producer trying to maintain creative control, not from substance use or unprofessionalism. However, once these stories circulated, they reinforced the perception that he was a liability. Snipes' company, Amen-Ra Films, had been developing additional projects at the time, and the negative press around his alleged on-set conduct directly harmed financing opportunities. After his release from prison, he found only limited roles, mostly supporting characters or direct-to-video projects. Although he experienced a mild resurgence with appearances in Dolomite Is My Name and Coming to America, he never regained the widespread leading man status he once held. Hollywood's verdict had already been set: too risky, too difficult, and too costly to ensure. Enjoyed this deep dive? Don't stop here. The one on your screen is even better, so check it out next.